What's up?
Hey,
How you doing,
sorry.
sir? How's it going? Can you hear me? We good?
Yeah, I can hear you, but
Oh Lord.
in our title, you left the A off of R, so it looks like the kids are refighting back. The English teacher in
Oh
me
no, that's not even English teacher. That's just right. Okay.
is,
That
is
is just
gonna be like,
that is just right. We will fix it. We will fix it, child. That is just correct. Okay. Why you ain't say something before I hit the button?
I didn't see it until you clicked the button and I got the
Mhm.
notification that the live
Got
started.
you.
So
Okay. But I will fix it right now. I'll fix it right now.
let me lubricate my vocal passage now.
Yeah, because you about to get it part. So what's up, everybody? Hey Des, what's Abby? Hey Tracy, what's up? So welcome everybody to another episode of the Teacher Project 2.0. I want to welcome everybody here. We're going to start this episode off with giving you guys some updates educationally with what's going on in the state of Florida. We do know that there is a hurricane that is currently going through Florida, Hurricane Ian. And of course, we know that Florida is near and dear to El Teddy's heart because that is his home state. But it is also a state that we talk a lot about here on the Teacher Project 2.0. Usually not for good reasons, but it is a frequent flyer. I thought about something last episode, El Teddy. I said for this school year, we should keep a chart. We should keep a chart of the states that we talk about. So, like every time we do a story on that particular state, we should keep a chart. And so at the end of the year, we could do a tally of how
We
many of these
should
stories came from what state. I think we should do that. I feel like we should
do
do
it.
that
And I
because
will
we
say,
gotta.
cumulatively, Florida, even though I think it's number three in terms of largest states, I mean number four in terms of largest states in terms of students, it is number three, closely approaching number two. So, and it has the fourth, sixth, and I believe 10th largest school districts in the whole country. So we're talking a lot of students, and I'm talking about K through 12 public education students. Talking about they're affecting millions, and I do mean millions of students right now, and not just K through 12 students, but also community college closures as well as university closures. So let me know when you're ready for me to start.
I am ready for you to start. The title has been changed, sir. So I know that will
All right. So here's the part where you can start to share this out and tell your people, okay, the Teacher Project 2.0 is about to give us the updated list of all school closures in the Sunshine State, the state of Florida. So without further ado, here we go. It's a lot of them, so bear with me, okay? Ooh, praise God. All right. A.D. Henderson University School, which is the Florida Atlantic University Lab School, they will be closed on, they're closed today, September 28th. Alachua County Schools will be closed Wednesday through Friday, today through Friday. Baker County Schools will be closed today through Friday. Bay County Schools will be closed tomorrow. Bradford County Schools will be closed for the rest of the week. Brevard County schools will be closed for the rest of the week. Broward County schools are closed today and tomorrow. Charlotte County schools are closed until tomorrow. They're closed today and tomorrow. Citrus County schools are closed for the rest of the week. Clay County schools are closed the rest of the week. Collier County schools are closed today and tomorrow. Collier, I will say, proviso to Collier County schools, they may be updated because remember, Collier County School is is one of the Collier County is in one of the direct lines of fire for the eye of the storm. So that may be updated. But as of right now, Collier County is closed today and tomorrow. Columbia County schools are closed for the rest of the week. DeSoto County schools are closed today and tomorrow. Dixie County schools are closed for the rest of the week. Duval County schools, sorry, because they'll get mad. Duval County schools will
Duval.
be closed for the rest of the week. FAMU DRS, which is the Florida A&M University Lab School, will be closed for the rest of the week. Flagler County schools are closed for the rest of the week. Florida School for the Deaf and Blind are closed for the rest of the week. Franklin County schools are closed. Um, they're open today, but they will be closed tomorrow and Friday. Gilchrist County schools are closed for the rest of the week. Glades County schools are closed today and tomorrow. Hold on one second. All right. Glades County schools today and tomorrow. Gulf County schools today and tomorrow. Hamilton County schools are open today, but they're closed tomorrow and Friday. Hardy County schools are closed today and tomorrow. Hendry County schools are closed for the rest of the week. Hernando County schools are closed for the rest of the week. Highlands County schools are closed for the rest of the week. Hillsborough County schools are closed for the rest of the week. Indian River County schools are closed today and tomorrow. Lafayette County schools are closed. They're open today, but they're closed tomorrow and Friday. Lake County schools are closed for the rest of the week. Lee County schools are closed today and tomorrow. Levy County schools are closed for the rest of the week. Madison County schools will be closed on Friday. Manatee County schools will be closed for the rest of the week. Marion County schools will be closed for the rest of the week. Martin County schools will be closed for no, I'm sorry, today and tomorrow for Martin County schools. Miami-Dade County Public Schools will be closed today and tomorrow. Monroe County schools will be closed today. They will be open tomorrow. Nassau County schools will be will be closed for the rest of the week. Okeechobee County schools will be closed for the rest of the week. Orange County schools will be closed for the rest of the week. Osceola County schools will be closed for the rest of the week. Palm Beach County schools will be closed today and tomorrow. Pasco County schools will be closed for the rest of the week. Pinellas County schools will be closed the rest of the week. Polk County schools will be closed the rest of the week. Putnam County schools will be closed the rest of the week. Sarasota County schools will be closed until further notice. And that's been updated. They will be closed until further notice. Sumter County schools will be closed today and tomorrow. Suwannee County schools will be closed for the rest of the week. Taylor County schools will be closed for the rest of the week. Volusia County schools will be closed for the rest of the week. University of Florida Lab School will be closed for the rest of the week. Union County School will be closed the rest of the week. And Wakulla County schools are open today. I'm sorry. Union and Wakulla County schools are open today, but both are closed tomorrow and Friday. That is all the K through 12 schools. Community college, and that's all of the K through 12 public schools in Florida. Now, for community colleges in the state, Broward College is closed today and tomorrow. College of Central Florida is closed through Sunday. College of the Florida Keys is closed today. They will reopen tomorrow. Daytona State College is closed through Friday. Eastern Florida State College is closed through Friday. Florida Gateway College is closed through Sunday. Florida State College at Jacksonville is closed through Friday. Florida Southwestern State College is closed through Sunday. Gulf Coast State College is closed, which is both Gulf and Franklin locations will be closed today and tomorrow. Hillsborough Community College is closed through Sunday. Indiana River State College is closed until tomorrow, so through Thursday. Lake Sumter State College is closed through Friday. Miami-Dade College is closed today. They will reopen tomorrow. North Florida College is open today, but it will be closed from tomorrow through Sunday. Palm Beach State College is closed today and tomorrow. Pasco Hernando State College is closed until Friday. Polk State College is closed through Friday. Santa Fe College is closed through Sunday. Seminole State College is closed through Sunday. South Florida State College is closed through Friday. Um, St. John's River State College is closed through Sunday. St. Petersburg College is closed through Sunday. State College of Florida is closed through Friday. Valencia College is closed through Sunday. For the state universities, Florida A&M University is closed through Friday. FAU, Florida Atlantic University, is closed through Thursday. Florida Gulf Coast University is closed through Friday. FIU, Florida International, is closed um, today. They will reopen tomorrow. Florida Polytechnic University is closed through Friday. Florida State University will be closed through Friday. That's both for Tallahassee and Panama City branches. New College of Florida is closed through Friday. University of Central Florida is closed through Friday. University of Florida, is closed through Friday. University of North Florida is closed through Sunday. University of South Florida is closed until through tomorrow. So they will be back open Friday. Those are all the closings of K through 12 community colleges and universities.
Thank you so much, El Teddy, for bringing us the breaking news as it relates to school closings and all that good stuff. What have you heard, or if anything, from your people on the ground as far as everything that's going on?
Um, if you are in Collier County, Sarasota County, that general area from about Naples all the way up to about Sarasota, it's catastrophic. Like I'm already getting where
Wow.
it is catastrophic. You're talking about there were areas that they know and they're still in the thick of it right now. The eye is not even fully on land yet. It's still making its way through very, very, very slowly.
Wow.
I talked to a close friend and someone close to mine who is a city commissioner for Fort Myers. He said they've already heard um, storm surges up to 12 feet, which that's taller
Wow.
than a one-story building, one-story house. I mean, on the beach side, it's catastrophic. There's more than 1 million people without power. That will go up exponentially because now we have is going more inland. So now you got people in the Bartow area, Plant City area, Orlando area, Winter Haven area is going to just pass through the I-4 corridor area and
Mhm.
just wash it all away because it's just moving so slow with so much rain. So they may not that Central Florida area, which going into tonight is going to start to get the brunt of it. It won't be as much wind. It still will probably be some tropical storm force winds, maybe some hurricane gusts, but they're going to get probably a foot or two of rain.
Mm.
And you're talking about a part of the state. If you learn the topography of Florida, that central part of the state is kind of concave inward to make up for Lake Okeechobee that's right there. So all of that is there's going to definitely be some flooding there, a lot of standing water. So, but right now in the immediacy, they're still in the thick of it. They're still getting hurricane force winds. They're getting category 3 to 4 gusts in that
Mm.
area. And I like I said, I talked to you earlier, really. I've been on the phone with him all day. But yeah, it's catastrophic in that area. Like I say, I have 2 blood brothers that live in the area. Thankfully they evacuated, but I already know when they get home, there's probably not going to be a good sight to see. So but
Mm.
yeah, so it's
I'm
and
so
this is
sorry to
going to
hear.
be going on.
Yeah,
This
I'm
is going
definitely
to be
sorry to
going
hear that.
on probably definitely the rest of today through tomorrow. We're talking about Friday morning until this will probably be offshore and back in the Atlantic finally makes its way off of Florida, and then it may have a third landfall in South Carolina or southern Georgia.
Okay, thank you. So a couple of things. Abby says that Winston-Salem State, which is in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, has already canceled their homecoming game, I guess in anticipation of the weather coming
Hmm.
up the East Coast. So those of us that are further up the East Coast going to have to be, be mindful of the remnants and what's going to come up the coast over the next couple of days.
I
Um,
think also they're looking. I mean, we just don't know yet because we're talking
yeah.
about into the weekend. But certainly, if you're in South Carolina, that southeastern part of Georgia and parts of North Carolina, you need to definitely be monitoring your news broadcasts and all of the other feeds to see school closings and things like that in that area because they are anticipating it curving, going through Florida, coming out of the the east northeast corner, and then maybe coming back into continental United States. So we just don't know. We just don't know. So stay vigilant. Hey Tabitha. Hey everybody coming in the chat. Hey Willie.
Hey Tabitha, hey Willie, hey Tracy. I think both my Tracys are here. Hey y'all. Hey Yana. Yana has a question. She says we go on fall break tomorrow and a group of people from here are going to Panama City and Destin. I don't think they should go. What do you think? Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea.
Panama City and Destin, that they won't really be that affected. They may have a little bit of cloud cover, but they should be that part of Florida. It should be good. That part of Florida is pretty going to go pretty much unscathed. Because that's the western. We call it the west gate of Florida, so it's the western part of the panhandle. So if they're over there in Destin, Panama City, they should be fine. They should be
Okay.
fine. But what we're talking about is going to be, it's going to move up through the central part of the state. It's going to come out somewhere maybe around Space Coast area, maybe a little north of there. So you're talking about what is that? Palm Coast, maybe as south as Ormond Beach, maybe even north as St. Augustine, those areas. So somewhere between Space Coast and First Coast, somewhere in that area.
Okay. So that is what we are talking about. So we wanted to start off with that information, so you guys can, act accordingly, move yourselves accordingly. And thank you, El Teddy, for all that information as it relates to the hurricane. So let's get into. Do you want to stay in Florida and go ahead and talk about Florida A&M,
Go
or?
ahead and get it out of the way.
All right, you guys. So our first story today is dealing with an HBCU. As always, the links are in the description box of our show. So this is coming from CBS News. It is dated September the 28th. So it is today's date. Black students at Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University are suing the state over alleged racial discrimination, claiming that local political leaders have deliberately denied the HBCU of equal funding with the University of Florida, a predominantly white school. The class action lawsuit filed in federal court in Florida also accuses the state higher education officials of duplicating academic programs at FAMU in an attempt to siphon enrollment from the school. The lawsuit named 6 FAMU students as plaintiffs and Florida's higher education system, including Chancellor Marshall Chrysler, the third as defendants. Faye Rachel, Peterson, a graduate student in chemistry, said she was motivated to file a lawsuit after realizing early last month that she was paid really poor as a research assistant at FAMU, while her friend at Florida State University doesn't have to worry about working while studying for a master's degree. Peterson says she believes her graduate stipend is so low because FAMU isn't receiving the same amount of funding as the other Florida public universities. Even if I get more funding, I would hope in the future that other students, even if I can't, get more funding, I would hope that in the future other students can have better opportunities, Peterson told CBS News. The State University System of Florida and Governor Ron DeSantis' office declined to comment on the case. I'm gonna leave it there. LTD, I think we have the crux of it. I'm gonna let you take it from here. You said you had a lot to say.
I don't think that this case is gonna go too far, and I say that because
I
first
agree.
of all, I don't even like how this is written because if they're saying local and then she's comparing FAMU to UF, they're not local. FAMU's in Tallahassee. UF is in Gainesville. Now there is a part. UF has an agricultural and satellite small little annex in Tallahassee, but by and large, and I think that may be what they're talking about, but the local municipality doesn't fund the university, the state university system. That comes from the state. The other thing about it is, if you look at what the allocations that the state schools get, when you look at the state budget, it is equitable. They are the state itself, the funding from the state itself is carved out based on the level of enrollment. The only part that I think that they may be able to say, and I don't even agree too much with that, is the part about old duplicate courses, which is siphoning students from one school to another. I'll get there in a second. But the part that I have to say is this: as far as the state goes, the state is doling out funds based on the enrollment as it should. That is at least today. Now, if we want to go back in history, there may have been some
Yeah,
other things.
yeah.
The
Historically,
other
that was
part,
an issue, but now, yeah.
yeah, the other part that I think that we're missing is, first of all, and I know FAMU from back in the 90s. The FAMU of today and the FAMU of back then in the 90s is light years different from each other. There's way more money coming into FAMU. There's way more buildings, facilities, and so forth. Is it perfect? No, I'm not going to say that. But when you start to compare this HBCU with the PWI, they're missing one of the biggest things, and that's alumni and
Listen,
what they
that's what I
contribute.
was. I'll go ahead because
That
that's what I was
that
gonna
is
say.
why
I was gonna
these
listen.
buildings. Listen, the reason these buildings come on campus and you see they named after somebody because this alumni said, "Here's a couple $1 million. Go build this building." The reason you have these different facilities and so forth because they say, "Here's some money. Go build this building." I get calls from Florida State, all foundation trying to raise money all the time, and it's just not the equity. The equity is in alumni contributions, and that is where that's where your fight should be with the alumni contributions. I don't think this is going anywhere, and I'm gonna say this last part. I'll let you go. Really, be the part she said about the state siphoning or giving dual courses to um, FAMU that they think that FAMU should only have, and maybe Florida State or UF shouldn't have, is going to be baseless as well. Because if we really think about it, Florida State and UF started with much larger course offerings, and many of the course offerings that University of Florida and Florida State had first, the state did send over to FAMU so that they could offer those course offerings that have more doctoral graduate programs as well. So when you're talking about that, then they're going to look at both sides because it sounds like what she's saying. Well, these courses should only be offered at FAMU, and these courses should only be offered at Florida State, and these courses should only be offered at UF University of Florida. And I don't know that anybody's going to ever okay that. And the part that they didn't have in that article, but I know is tied into this is FAMU and Florida State share a school of engineering, a college of engineering, and the enrollment of FAMU students in that college of engineering has dwindled compared to the enrollment of the Florida State students at their College of Engineering. And so that's some of the equities. But in terms of pay for graduate assistants is low everywhere. Everywhere. And how do we know that your friend isn't a part of some program where they have extra programs, grants, and
Right. There's a
assistantship
certain amount that's
that may be
designated. Yeah.
paying them more than a regular grad assistant?
Right.
So
If it's
it's
not
too
the
many
same, if
factors.
you're not comparing the same program, then you can't compare because it's not the, you know what I'm saying? Full-time equivalents. So listen, this is what I'm gonna say, and this is the part that y'all not gonna like. And El Teddy already said it for me, but before he said it, I was thinking it. So let me just go ahead and say my piece on it. Here the part y'all ain't gonna want to hear. And here the part y'all ain't gonna like. When I say y'all, I mean the people that always want to talk about what the PWIs get over the HBCUs. Now listen, we can go down the line of inequities. Absolutely, we can. I went to a HBCU. We can go down the line. But here's what I do know. At the end of the day, we, alumni, graduates, lovers of, supporters of, we're going to have to start putting our money where our mouth is. We're going to have to start giving back. We're going to have to start being active participants in our alumni associations. I am active. I'm not as active as I used to be, if I'm going to be honest, but I've been active with my alumni association since I graduated. And we struggle to keep attendance. We struggle to get people to just pay their dues. We're not asking for endowments. We just need you to pay your dues every year. We struggle when it's time for elections to have people take over leadership positions that say, hey, we're going to lead this alumni organization. At the end of the year, when it comes down to contributions, because here's the thing, when it comes down to contributions, we pale in comparison to other schools our size. And what I'm not going to do is allow people to make the excuse, oh, well, our alumni aren't making that kind of money. Bullshit.
They are. They absolutely are. And let me interject this too, really, because this was something that came up recently with FAMU. First of all, you have much more in terms of enrollment at University of Florida is the largest state school. They have almost 50,000 students there. Florida State is in the mid 40s. So Florida State, I think, has like 43, 44,000. FAMU has about 13, 14,000. Naturally, even if all of your alumnus were giving the same amount as the other in terms of percentage as the other, they have more people, so clearly there's going to be more money. And I push back with saying, let's try to work on enrollment and getting more students there. But here's the problem: when you have scandals like what they just had with the football team, what they just had with the band, and how people in-house, not the state, but your own administration and people in positions of power in-house at this school aren't doing right by the resources and funds that they have. So before we go outside and say it's somebody else causing it to go down, you're not helping yourself. And you have an administration over the years that has done things that has made students say, yeah, I don't want to go there. Yeah, that's not going to be my choice of places to go because you're not doing right by the students once they get there. And that has nothing to do with the funding sent from the state.
The other thing I'm going to say is this, and then we'll move on. Even if there's an issue of you not having money, all right, fine. You don't make as much money. You don't have a lot of money. That's where you get involved in your alumni association, because the whole purpose of an alumni association is to raise money for the school. 90% of what you do are fundraisers. It's fellowship, but it's also fundraisers. It's keeping up with what's going on with the school, getting information about what's happening at the school. But most of what I did when, again, I'm not as active as I used to be, but when I was active, we had fundraisers, and our chapter is the second largest. Our chapter always battled with Greensboro chapter. And of course, Greensboro is right there where Bennett is. So we were always either the first or the second. We always battled. And so the reality is, even if you don't have the money, you got the time. And so I hear you, and I agree with you, El Teddy. As I was reading through the article, I was like, this ain't going nowhere, and again, when we start looking at these programs, we have to stop comparing and look at why the difference is the way it is. I remember the first time I went to Duke University for the weekend with a friend that was going to Duke. I was like, you gotta be freaking kidding. It was like a whole nother world. But again, when you scratch away and look at where the money is actually coming from, like you said, the state funding is generally equal nowadays. That wasn't always like that. Agreed. Agreed.
Always.
But nowadays, it's generally equivalent. So Tracy says, my son is a sophomore in college, and they are already started asking for donations at his PWI. They told me I could buy him a brick. Exactly. And that brick is going to go for a new building. Exactly. Yep. There it is. All right. Do we want to go to Milwaukee or do we want to go to Virginia?
Let's go to Milwaukee and then we'll let you spike out over Virginia. Speaking of Virginia, I will be there.
You will be.
In what about
2 days?
36
right?
hours?
Yeah, that's okay. So then less than 2 days.
I leave tomorrow night.
And I will see you Saturday. Abby can't meet us there because she got another conference with Fed. Yeah. All right. So this article is coming from Fox News. It is dated. Where's my date? Oh, it's dated today. Duh. The title is Milwaukee Schools' Effort to Rescind Revised Sex Education Curriculum Fails. Oh, that was a mouthful. Okay. In an effort to rescind a revised sex education curriculum in a suburban Milwaukee school district that includes instruction to students as young as kindergartners has failed. The Wauwatosa, I'm going to say that's what I said, school board heard a rare motion Tuesday night to rescind the human growth and development curriculum that was adapted last month and includes lessons on sexual orientation and gender identity. But the effort to rescind failed when no board members second the motion. So if you do Robert's Rules of Order, when you put a motion on the floor, somebody has to second it or dies. The debate over the curriculum has been intense with a public comment period lasting more than 4 hours before the board approved the revision in August. The curriculum outlines the level of instruction for the different grade levels. For elementary schools, lessons include defining gender roles, identifying proper names and body parts, and learning about consent in an everyday context. By 8th grade, middle schoolers will learn about different gender identities, sexual orientations, sexual activities, and how social relationships are influenced by all of those things. In high school, students will learn about abuse in relationships, safe sex, analyzing information on social media, and more thorough understanding of sexual orientation, gender, and other social identities. Parents or guardians can opt their students out of the program if they don't feel comfortable with the subject matter. Let me just say that part one more time because I think I need everybody to hear that.
Please do.
Parents or guardians can opt their students out of the program if they don't feel comfortable with the subject matter. You're asking teachers who teach math and science to then address really deep emotional issues. I think that's a place that they don't belong, parent Paul Bruno told WISN-TV. Board member Michael Meir said he offered the motion to rescind because some parents felt the curriculum and the state mandated opt-out weren't enough of a choice. He also said other people of goodwill, concern for their children and their heartfelt beliefs wanted something different. That's it. I'm gonna leave that.
Let me. That is actually the whole article.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
But let me say this: the dumbest argument that they made in this is when they say you're asking teachers who teach math and science to address really deep emotional issues. That's not true. Because when you're talking about middle school and high school, they're not going to have the math teacher teach these types of things. And why wouldn't the science teacher be the one teaching about things involving sex, which is physiological and does go into science? Wouldn't that make sense?
I would think.
And on the other part scale is in elementary school teachers are trained, educated to teach everything. When you get K through 6 certification in most states across the fruited plains, it spans the gamut of all subject areas. Does it not really be?
That's what I thought.
Last time I checked. So wouldn't, and they even I love how the article even broke down what's taught at each grade level: elementary, And
Yeah.
everything they talked about is appropriate to that grade level. They're certainly not going to have kindergartners and first graders learning the same thing that a fifth grader would learn. There's levels to it, as there should be. And then the whole argument, this was the dumbest thing of the whole argument. Here's the dumbest thing, where they said, um, board member Michael Myers said he offered the motion to rescind, because some parents felt the curriculum and state mandated opt out weren't enough of a choice. So, you being allowed to opt out isn't enough of a choice? I'm just saying. And that's coming from the board member who made the motion. He got mad because nobody seconded his motion. But what I'm saying is, how is that not a choice if you can opt out? How is that not enough of a choice? Because if you take it all away, then there's no choice at all. Help me out really, because I'm trying. I'm trying real hard to.
I just don't understand how saying I do not want my child to participate in this lesson isn't a big enough choice for a parent. I don't, because I don't think a lot of people and I don't think a lot of people know this. You do know that you can still opt your child out of learning about evolution. Like, that's still a thing. So I don't understand how if 50 years later we are still letting students opt out of evolution after, the lawsuit in the 1950s, which of course the name is escaping my brain right now. I don't understand why letting a parent, they probably just have to write a letter to the school so the school can have it on file that says simply, I do not want my child to participate. And the teacher is then responsible for providing an activity or lesson so they can still get a credit, so they're not penalized grade wise for not participating. And then life goes on. I'm just not understanding. I don't know what these people want. I don't know what these people want. And I
don't want choice. That's the problem. They don't want choice.
That's it. They just don't want us to talk about it. They just want us to pretend like it's not happening. It's just, I don't see it. I don't see it. It's not happening. I just don't understand.
I'm trying real hard to make this stuff make sense, but
what do y'all want from us?
So let me ask this. At no point from K through 12 should students learn anything about sex,
sexuality,
anything about orientation, anything about social norms, anything about no means no. And all of these things, at no point should they learn these, right?
Because I like the fact that consent was a part of the curriculum, because I think that's something that a lot of people, even grown as adults, don't understand what consent looks like, who can give consent, who cannot give consent, when they can give consent, when can they not give consent. I mean, I think the whole, if they're
gender and social identities, which is, and not just gender, but social identities include. I thought, looking at it, it's a very, very, looks like a good, well thought out curriculum.
It does. It really does. Because here's the reality. A friend of mine, and I mean, this happens in any school, I'm sure my nephew, but I just know for a fact that at my friend's school, her daughter's in kindergarten and she has students in her class that have same gendered parents. So it has to be a conversation. That doesn't mean you have to get into we don't have to get in all the nooks and cranny, but the conversation that says, hey, everybody's family doesn't look the same. Some people have two mommies. Some people have two daddies. Some people have a mommy and a daddy. And that there's no wrong family makeup. Like there's nothing wrong with having the conversation. And my thing is this, if you do have a problem with it, if it is a problem for you, then what I say to you is this, then you need to do one of two things. Either you need to get some get your coins together and put your child in a Catholic school or a religious-based school that adheres to your ideology, or you homeschool your children. But in a
They
public
still gonna
school,
steal when they go out in public.
well, I understand that too, El Teddy, but they don't clearly understand that part. they don't understand. we understand. They think that if you don't see it,
Right here.
about it.
Try real hard.
Okay.
Girl.
Well, we're gonna stay on the bigotry train. Let's head on down to Virginia.
Mm.
Right, get your child. But you know what, Crispy's not even a private institution, a religious-based school that adheres to your ideology. And I say that because my friend that I was just telling you guys about, she's at a private school, pays a lot of tuition. So it's not just a private school, a religious-based school that adheres to your ideology. Because even in a religious school, even in a private school, if it's not religious-based, or if the religion does not adhere to your ideologies, because they're at a Quaker school, and she has students that have same gender, parents. So yeah, you got to be clear, because like you said, just because it's private doesn't mean they agree with me. Oh, child. Let's go on down here to Virginia, child. Let's go on down here to Virginia. Oh, here's the link for the Milwaukee schools. Let me put that in the chat. And then we're gonna head on down to Virginia. So let me refresh our memory for a second. The governor of Virginia, if you guys remember, he won his race. If y'all remember, he's the one that used it was Beloved. He's the one that used the book Beloved. He had the student who sued, that was taking AP English, and sued because he didn't want to read about Beloved because it made him feel bad over slavery. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And then he used that was part of his platform about he was going to take out critical race theory. And
mind you, the student never even read the book.
Mind you, your beef is with College Board and not the school system. If he was an AP, that's your beef, because the AP curriculum has nothing to do with the school. But let me not make sense.
I guarantee you, the student and the parent never even read the book. But we know it was already, validated. The student never read it.
Yeah, and I'm sure the mama never read it either. Hell, you could have went and watched that terrible ass movie that Oprah made. I bet you didn't do that either. But moving on.
Not the terrible movie.
Tell me I'm lying.
I didn't say anything.
Okay. So this is I sent El Teddy the article a couple of days ago when they were planning what they were talking about. They were planning this action. So let me read you guys the article. Taking control of our own lives. Virginia. Oh, this is coming from USA Today. It is dated yesterday, September the 27th. Taking control of our own lives. Virginia students walk out over reversal of transgender protections. Arlington, Virginia, which is, I can get to Arlington in about 20 minutes from my house. More than 1,000 students walked out of Virginia middle and high schools today. Well, Tuesday. Organizers said leaving class in protest of the state's reversal of transgender protections that put decisions on students' identities and preferred names at school exclusivity in the hands of their parents. What's in the policy? The guidelines released September the 16th by Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin. Administration required students to use restrooms, pronouns, and names based on their official school records. It limits sports teams to gender assigned at birth, and it tightens parental notification requirements. What students are saying, revoking the protections now would be like dialing back the clock. It'd be like telling students, we don't really care. You're not really who you believe yourself to be. Andrea Grace Mukana told USA Today on Tuesday at John Lewis High School in Springfield, where more than 100 of her peers walked out for a protest on the football field. The bigger picture, the walkouts are part of a greater nationwide youth pushback to an uptake of all anti-LGBTQ policies in schools, including what critics call Florida's Don't Say Gay law. banned in 18 states against transgender athletes participating in sports that match their gender identity. Altogether, you guys, thousands of students did walk out of these schools. 1,000 students walked out of over 1,000 students walked out of Virginia high schools. They said this is the largest protest by students in like 30 years. So we're probably going back to the Vietnam War protest of students at the time. We're really having our own agency and taking control of our own lives in a way that many of you feel they can't at this age. Progressive in allowing students to go by the name and pronouns of their choosing. Fairfax County schools have been progressive in allowing students to go by the name of pronouns of their choosing. Teachers have been really accommodating of that, and now a lot of students feel confident in their gender expression, she said. Student activists at McLean High School encouraged the 100 plus teens who walked out at 10:30 a.m. to attend the district's next school board meeting. That is absolutely what you need to do. Trans rights are human rights, the organizer chanted into megaphones. Some speakers recalled their own mental health struggles and how the new guidelines, which caused more pain for already vulnerable youth. I was completely terrified. I cried, a 17-year-old senior at McLean High School said when they heard about the new policy last week. It was a huge blow to myself and so many other students. The personal toll of these things is just monumental. What does Youngkin's education policy reverse? I'm just going to read you the highlights of what's under the new policy. Students should be referred by the name and pronouns on their official records unless a parent approves the use of the alternative. Students may separate sports teams on the basis of sex assigned at birth and are not required.
Schools, not students. Schools may.
Oh, my bad. Schools may separate sports teams on the basis of sex assigned at birth and are not required to allow students of one sex to participate in sports teams reserved for members of another sex. Students must now file legal documents if they wish to be called by a different pronoun. Schools may not encourage teachers to conceal information about a student's gender from their parents. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna give you guys the article because it's USA Today, so it's kind of a lengthy article, but that is the overall gist of it. El Teddy, your take. You came from a pretty progressive school district when it came to
I was just about to say that it's so funny because 3 years ago, back in 2019, when I was telling you about the things that we were doing in my school district 3 years prior to then, 4 years prior to then, back in 2015 and so forth, you were floored. You were like, some of the same things that we're arguing about right now have been going on already in schools for years. And I remember that conversation. It's so interesting, really, to see the progress that actually has been made exponentially in that 3 year period of time. Because, like you said, at that time, they weren't doing that in your area at all. Nope. And now to see that we had made that progress, and now for it to just be snatched away, how do you put the toothpaste back in the tube? It would be, I mean, and this was conversations even back then that I would have with you about some of the things that I saw coming. Because I remember we had a long conversation about it. I said I could see coming a time when a parent who's not in agreement with this child wanting to be called or referenced by a certain name or pronoun having an issue, and this is going to become our issue, I remember vividly saying that. Now, what bothers me is the part where it said students must now file legal documents if they wish to be cleaved, that they're getting ready, or there's some politician putting legislation in place that prohibits a child, meaning a minor, having their gender and things change. Please be clear. Someone somewhere is writing legislation, so it's impossible at all. And that's where we're going.
I agree.
It's so sad, and this is a concerted and deliberate attack on children, and that's the part that is just so baffling. This is a concerted attack on children. I might almost be willing to go with this argument if you said children under the age of 12. I ain't agree. I'm not saying I'm in agreement with it then, but I might even allow you to let me entertain that conversation. But you're talking about a especially on the high school level, and really be high school level students are very cognizant of who and what they are at that point. Very cognizant. And for you to tell somebody no, you gotta be who I tell you to be. You can't be what you don't have the freedom to be yourself. You have to be exactly only what I tell you you can be. You might as well start shackling people up and going back to slavery time. That's really what we have going on. Let's just be clear. This
Mhm.
assault and attack on the LGBTQ plus community is an attack on people's freedoms. What you want is people, and it may not be physical shackles, but you are putting metaphoric, shackles on people and telling them you no longer have the freedom to live life as you see fit. You no longer have the freedom to be who you are. You are chained and shackled to in this little box of who and what we want you to be. And that is a scary notion. And if you think and if they're successful with this and you think they're going to stop there, please be clear. They are not. If you don't fall into the big four, male, white, Christian, heterosexual, you may find yourself having a problem.
Um, I say the same thing. I've been very consistent in the way that I feel about making permanent decisions under 18, but I feel that way about tattoos. I feel that way about so when it comes to transgender children, I am not necessarily in support of permanent decisions being made of like, as far as, any type of augmentations or plastic surgery or even hormones. Honestly, that's my opinion. That's my opinion. But allowing a child to express themselves by being identified by their preferred pronoun, by that being identified by their preferred name, allowing students to wear makeup or dress a certain way or wear their hair a certain way. I don't understand what that issue is, and I'm not understand how that hurts you. Like me as a teacher, I had a student last year that was gender neutral, and I had to call them they. I had to remember it was hard, and I would forget sometimes, but it was never intentional. But it wasn't an issue. Oh, you identify they, fine, no problem. That's your pronoun, cool. It didn't bother me. It didn't hurt me. It didn't change my curriculum. It didn't change my lesson plans. It didn't impact anything I was doing in my classroom. It didn't. I promise you it didn't. You know what I mean? And so it's like I just don't understand why we put so much effort into all the wrong things when it comes to education.
Oh, I can tell you what it's about. It's
Well, I know
about,
what it's about, but
I mean, and this speaks to a bigger issue. It's about people not wanting to see certain things. I shouldn't have to see that. Well, remember, a lot of the reason police forces came because they didn't want to see black people in white neighborhoods.
yeah.
And there was policing that specifically was brought in place to keep because we don't want to see black people because I don't like
Mhm.
the way they look. And it's the same thing with LGBT. Well, I don't want to see that gay stuff around me. I don't want no part. I don't. My kids shouldn't have to see that. And white people used to say the thing. My kids shouldn't have to see black people in their own neighborhood unless they're subservient and working. I mean, where do we draw the line? And then the other thing is this stuff isn't just black and white. I tell you, I had a student who and this was maybe about 10 years ago now. I had a student who was intersex, meaning they were born with both um
Genitalia.
organs, genitalia. The student told me at first I didn't know what to do with it. So I did call the parent. I'm not gonna even lie because it kind of I didn't want, that I say, hey, mom, the mom was in the house. I said, hey mom, so and so had a conversation with me. This is what they said. I do not want you to. I didn't ask them that they volunteered this information, And I just want you to know that this is a conversation that they had, because the problem was the student wanted to be said they felt like they were one sex, but the mom had raised them from a little child to be another sex. And the student was, the mom was very, the mom loved their child, but the mom was very hardcore about everything she believed in. She was very religious. And the problem was the student didn't even know how to go to the mom and have the conversation about one of the genitalia worked and one of them didn't. And the one
Oh.
that did work was opposite of the genitalia that they had. I mean, not the genitalia of, but of the sex that they were, that they grew up being.
Oh.
And so we had this whole gray area, and the student didn't even know how to approach the mom, have that conversation. And then the student kind of felt bad because if from the time you were little, you grew up this gender, but now your body is telling you, no, boo, you really is this one. Where do you go with that?
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a quagmire for me. I just didn't know what to do or what. I had to get the counselor involved before I even called the mom. I got the AP and the counselor and
Mm-hmm.
people involved. Hey, just had this student. This is the conversation they had with me. I want to call a parent and let the parent know the conversation that they had with me. And I did call a parent. They brought the parent in, and there was a lot of counseling and things. And the student's very happy now. The student has, I'm not going to say transition, but has declared this is their gender and so forth, and changed their names and so forth. But it was a very awkward, and that's a situation that is not black and white. You know what I'm
Nope.
saying? That is a
And that's and
that's a
those
really
like
great
those are
area.
not what we're you know what I'm saying. And those like yeah, those need to be dealt with a certain way because that's not norm. That's not a
But here's
normal
the thing: the
situation
laws don't even. The point that I'm making is the laws don't even allow
for
for
that.
things like that.
That yeah.
They don't even allow for, because what will happen is a student like that would need, once they figure out, okay, this organ is working and this one is not, that would be a student that will qualify. Okay, you do need to start taking hormones so as to kind of, you know, get the
Yeah, that's
body
yeah,
to.
yeah, and yeah, and that is different than what I'm thinking as well too.
And,
Yeah.
and right, but what I'm saying is, once we seal the door and say no for anything and everybody, then you're closing it off for everything. It's in the case of, it's a lot. It's just a lot, and I just didn't let people be who they are. If that's what you are, baby, go ahead, baby. I love you the same. I'm glad. Great. Be who you are.
Exactly. Exactly. Let me read a couple of these comments and we're gonna close it out. Lady V says if parents can call their children little wench, MFers, B words, or anything other than their name, why can't the kid give themselves a label title? In my opinion, it's wrong. Okay. Tracy says, well, the minors in my house live by my rules, but calling my child a different name or pronoun don't matter to me as long as you're a good person. I'll call you one-eyed purple people eater if you want. Why can't we focus on raising good people? I need people to think in global terms. I agree.
And I do want to say, I do acknowledge that a parent is going to be, perhaps feel some kind of way if you feel very strongly, this is my son Bob, and he's Bob, and Bob go to class and say, hey, Dr. L. Teddy, I don't want to be called Bob. My name is Michelle. That's what you need to refer to me as. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And I go to open house, and that parent is, and I'm saying, hey, Michelle, and the mom and dad looking at me like, who you talking to? Wait a minute. I do understand. I absolutely understand, but you got to understand the position that as an instructor that teacher is in. Yeah, especially if it's a high school student. That teacher becomes in a very precarious situation because you got a parent and students battling it out, and they have very different opinions. And now you, where do I go? You know what I'm saying? Where do I go with this? Because we're trying to teach students to be independent, to be able to think, be independent thinkers, to be able to know and grow and know who they are. But at the same time, If the parent has said, nah, that ain't what I'm here for, I
I
don't
agree.
know.
Well, you guys, y'all know we keep it to an hour. We are at our hour mark. Again, we're gonna send our prayers, thoughts, well wishes to the people of Florida. Please stay safe. Why and anybody else that's gonna be affected coming up the East Coast, be safe, follow whatever guidelines that are given to you, follow
Please
whatever.
also, if you're watching the replay on this and you're in a state outside of Florida, and you find out about school closures, can you put it in the comment section
Please
for
do.
us,
Thank you.
please?
Thank you.
Put that in the comment section for states like Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina that may start to have school closures, that you may start to hear about over the weekend and things like that or later in the week. Please
Thank
put
you.
those in the comment section for us.
Thank you. As always, thank you for being here. If you would like to reach out to us, you can always contact us at our email, the teacher project 2.0 at gmail.com. And again, always you can send us stories or information. We welcome educators to come be a part of the panel. Let us know if you're interested in coming. You can reach us both on Instagram as well, LTeddy27 and Really Be TV _ on YouTube. So you can reach out to us as well. Send us an inbox and say, hey, I'm a teacher. I want to come up. Is it cool? Hey, we welcome it. We always want to hear different points of view. And I'm going to put that spreadsheet together. We're going to start keeping track of the states that we get these stories from. And at the end of the year, we're going to do, when we're going to do a year in review, we're going to look at that. We're going to look at it. Because we already have two from Florida. One of our stories was from Florida last week.
You know, the holy trinity of racism and bigotry.
Yeah.
Florida and Texas,
and Virginia.
and then Virginia, North Carolina, they be sharing that last
leg.
leg.
You know what? I'm not even gonna give Florida a check today because it was about the hurricane. So I ain't even gonna say that. I ain't even gonna put Florida. I ain't even gonna give it to Florida like that.
They did mention the don't say gay bill.
Just say no gay bill. They did.
Article they did.
Oh. All right. Well, thank you guys for being here. If you could probably catch El Teddy and myself going live at some point this weekend while we're together. Who knows what that's going to look like? But you're welcome to join us on our main YouTube channel.
Tracy, you did have a positive story today. Some kids are very happy that they're out of school. There's your positivity. May not be positive for the parents who probably get their soul aggravated, locked in the house with their children for the next 2 days. You can't even leave the house. What's so sad about hurricanes? You can't even leave the house. You just trapped in there with the kids and everything.
It's like going back to the pandemic. You just sitting out at each other.
Days at a time. Lord.
Right. Tracy said number 1 is Florida, number 2 is Texas, and they fighting over number 3. Yeah, we'll see what number 3 is at the end of the year. That'll be fun for us to look at that at the end of the year. That'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you guys, let me get ready to get out of here. We're going to be talking about Bishop Whitehead in about 30 minutes on my channel. Child, they caught the robbers. So meet me over there in about 30 minutes. Look at it. We out. Don't